Christmas has deep roots across the Bluegrass State, and the earliest traditions of the festive holiday can be found inside the Fraser Museum. Today, I'm joined by engagement specialists Jason Berkowitz and Susan Reed with the Fraser Museum to learn more about the history of Christmas in Kentucky. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
You are so festive today, and I love it.
Thank you. Tis the season, right?
Tis the season. So tell us a little bit about, the first Christmases, what those were like right here in Kentucky.
Oh, the first Christmases in Kentucky. Well, we have a tradition known as Old Christmas. We actually have two Christmases out in eastern Kentucky, one that's a little bit more secular and one that's a little bit more religious in bent. And this is because people started thinking there's a little bit too much drinking and firing of guns, a little bit too much rowdiness in eastern Kentucky. And so some came together and said, well, let's just have another Christmas on January 6th. And so that's what's known as Old Christmas. It's a little bit more religious, a lot more reading Bibles, singing hymns and whatnot. So yeah, that is one Christmas tradition among many we have here in Kentucky.
What are some of those other really fun ones?
Well, one that I absolutely love is the fact that Christmas is celebrated in a very peculiar way in Japan, of all places.
Really?
Yeah, and it all started with a little white lie. You see, KFC opened up in Japan around 1970, and just a few years later, 1974, there was a store manager, and he's thinking, how do I drum up business? Pardon the pun. And he's thinking, and he thinks all the way across the ocean to America, and he's thinking about Christmas and how we celebrate it here. And so he invents this white lie. He says, in America, they celebrate Christmas by eating buckets of chicken from Kentucky Fried Chicken. And so he came up with a promotion. He called it Kuri Nuwasu Niwa Kentucky, which means Kentucky for Christmas. And so this promotion included a bucket of chicken, a bottle of wine, and it was so successful that this manager ended up becoming the president and CEO of Japan Kentucky in just 1 decade.
Oh my gosh.
So now get a load of this. Nowadays, you have to place an order for this bucket of chicken months in advance.
Months?
Months in advance. This is the most popular non-religious holiday in Japan today. So people will wait in line for hours to get their bucket of chicken. All throughout Tokyo, you can see the colonel himself, statues of him on corners, dressed as Santa. It's an easy connection, right? If you dress the colonel up as Santa, it looks like Santa.
Yeah, it does. I mean, look at him.
Yeah. And my favorite fact with this is that, well, let me ask you, what do you think the most popular Christmas carol in Japan is?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah?
Joy to the World?
It's a trick question because it is My Old Kentucky Home. Yes, you can walk the streets of Tokyo during the winter and hear My Old Kentucky Home playing on store speakers.
What? Even right here at the Fraser, you have so many things going on in the museum for the Christmas time, too.
Absolutely. We have our Lights on Main exhibit. It is an exhibit we've done in partnership with I Would Rather Be Reading, a nonprofit here. And I got to say, if you've got family coming in to town, I know it's very, very popular to go out and look at all the lights in all the neighborhoods. It's what myself and my family does. But maybe you can mix it up a little bit this year because at the Fraser Museum, we have 100 trees decorated throughout our museum. We're talking trees that have been decorated by individuals, organizations, businesses throughout the state. And here is the best thing about it. Each tree looks completely different from the next. It is a true winter wonderland there at the Fraser Museum. So yeah, come on down to the Fraser. It is cheap entertainment, but wonderful entertainment. Again, you'll be able to take your family throughout our museum and show off not just all these beautiful trees, but our wonderful state, a state that's so popular it made its way all the way to Japan for the Christmas season, right?
Well, yeah, and I love your tagline, where the world meets Kentucky. It's conveniently located right there. Kind of kick off your whole Kentucky journey right there at the Fraser.
One of my favorite stories to tell about Christmas in Kentucky is over in Appalachia, where for over 83 years, a train has wound its way on an early Saturday morning up into the mountains, into the hollers, and on the back of that train is Santa. And he throws 15 tons of presents and thousands of backpacks out to the children. We found this story when we were doing our research for Stories in Mind, which is Fraser's outreach program that they created. And it's fascinating to me to think that during World War II, a group of businessmen in Tennessee knew that in those mountains, the men were either working in the coal camps or they were away at war, and the children would not have a Christmas. And they decided, as a way to pay back for business all year long, to run this train. And it continues this day, and I think it's an amazing Kentucky tradition and an example of how we work together and stay connected.
So cool. Thank you both again so much.
Thank
And
you.
happy
You're welcome.
holidays.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
So again, if you're interested in learning more about all of their fun events that are coming up, of course, those kids camps and everything else, just go over to their website, FraserMuseum.org.